Ego is essential for biological life. Ego represents the individual identification coming from within to know I is different from you and they. Ego helps to identify by dividing and classifying the totality. पृथक्त्वेन तु यज्ञानम नाना भावान पृथक विधान वेत्ति सर्वेषु भूतेषु तज विद्धि राजसम. The knowledge that distinguishes and subclassifies the different fractions or portions of the whole is divisive and said to be rajas. Ego is a force of the rajas. An entire cake that has been freshly baked or a fresh pie does not have individual slices. There is no existence of a slice of cake unless you use a knife to cut it in certain directions and certain portions. So the individual slice only exists after a knife has cut the cake into multiple portions. Depending on how you cut the cake, you can get different slices. But individual slices, before running the knife through them, do not exist. Atman similarly does not exist within the Shiv Chitta until the boredom triggered, curiosity triggered, desire exceeds the wisdom, asking the so-called fraction within the Shiv Chitta to elope from the deep, silent waters of the ocean onto the surface as a prana into the world of Prakriti. So Atman is the portion of the Shiv Chitta that has left the cosmic consciousness to travel with the turbulent waves of prana to experience something that which it is not. When it has left, it finds itself away and different from the Shiv Chitta. This finding, this knowledge, this divisive understanding is what ego is. So ego helps to identify by discriminating. Also, ego helps to transform. Transform in the sense that life after life, the ego will change the content of its knowledge. If we are born as a male, the ego will identify us as a male. If we are born as a female, the ego will suddenly change and identify ourselves as a female. In order to identify and discriminate repeatedly, the ego knife will cut the cake in different directions every time death happens and a new birth occurs. Ego will also change what our perception of the self is over time. That is why people with low self-esteem can develop confidence or vice versa. People who are fearful can become courageous or vice versa. Transformation is one of the key elements of prana because prana vibrates, it is dynamic, it is constantly changing everything in the world of Prakriti or nature. What has come into existence must cease to exist depending upon the time. Time and space are the cardinal x and y axis in which the Prakriti is operating. But the x and y axis are themselves changing over time. This is dynamicity sitting on top of dynamicity. That's why ego has a hard time latching on to one particular coordinate or point within the graph, since the entire axes are themselves constantly changing. It's like drawing a point on a 3D printed graph. So, ego, in its most naive, native state, represents rajas, or the power of transformation. Since it is power of change or transformation, it can become sattvic ego, or it can deteriorate under the influence of tamasic ego. The sattvic representation of ego or aham will be intuition at its highest point of Agya Chakra. It will be courage at Vishuddha or compassion at Anhata. In all these cases, instead of focusing on the self, the ego has developed the balance of neutrality to focus on the non-self. It is focusing on the Atmans around it. It is starting to perceive the state of other slices that have come along with it in this totality of cake that was uncut before. The sattvic intuition, ajna, is the highest level of ego expression one can attain in this biological body. Above that, an individual's ego ceases to exist, just like in case of siddhas such as Ramana Maharishi. Any question you ask, who is suffering, when Yogananda asks Ramana, why is there suffering in the world? Ramana answers after a long silence, who is suffering? Since there is rapid, complete dissolution of ego in extended Dhyan Yoga in Ramana, there is no ego. There is no perception of self versus non-self. Hence the question, who? Now, intuition is the ability to channel the environment and incidents that will occur not only outside you, but also in future times. Intuition is the gut feeling of the highest quality. Below intuition of ajna lies courage of Vishuddha. The ego, which was constantly fanning me, what about me, suddenly starts asking, what about them, individuals around them who are being suppressed, tormented, exploited. The Rajasic ego has become Rajasic Sattvic ego in the realm of courage and notwithstanding anything that is wrong done to anybody. That is why Krishnadas was told by Neem Karoli Baba, courage is a very important thing. साहस एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति है. Courage or sahas comes from activation of the Vishuddha or the throat chakra. It is the ability to fight the wrong that is happening in your presence. It is the ability to transform yourself into others and feel how they would feel if they were suffering the conditions that they are suffering now. Below courage lies the compassion chakra of Anhata. So compassion is the ability to feel the pain of an individual that is not self. If someone is having pain and suffering for long times at Anhata, the chakra should evolve to courage to correct the wrong. And intuition is helping them guard from the future wrongs that might be thrown by prarabdha or the loading of the sanchit on the bow and be hurled at you. So compassion will transform into courage, will transform into intuition as the chakras evolve in us over time. Now come to this represents the evolution of the ego into the higher chakras of compassion in Anahata, courage in Vishuddha, and intuition in Ajna. Now also the Rajasic ego can devolve and deteriorate into a Tamasic ego. Like you can understand, there will be three counteracting and lower chakra caught up situations in which an individual constantly stays at the lower three chakras. Let's start with the lowest chakra, Muladhara. Ego, which is the Rajasic force of identification, discrimination, and transformation, transforms from its Rajasic state into Tamasic state of dispassion. The compassion of Anahata has turned into dispassion, apathy. The apathy can be in the form of a sociopath or a psychopath in the Muladhara. Muladhara is about self-subsistence. Food, water, shelter, the basic needs of the Indriyas. However, at some point, there can be extreme dispassion and no consideration of the others when we are trying to gain food, water, shelter. So, this can be considered a dispassion, or in worse situations, this can manifest as the two basic activities of Swadhisthana, which are creation and procreation. So, an individual can become extremely involved in lust and greed because Swadhisthana is all about pleasure. Now, the basic needs of the body can arise in the form of samskaras or subconscious impressions carried forward from the past lives, which want to manifest every and down in the form of sexual embrace or leading a grihast life. The sexuality or the sexual force within you can sometimes be manifest as extreme sexual force, which we call lust. Similarly, there can be extreme insatiable force to gather a lot of material goods around yourself, which is called greed or hoarding. Both lust and greed show excesses of the normal tendencies of subsisting, which has become greed, and sex, which has become lust. Lust can also mean wanting things which are non-sexual in nature, such as foods. Swadhisthana is a pleasure center, and when excess of Swadhisthana happens, there is self-destruction because Ati Sarvatra Varjayet. So, the courage of Vishuddha has transformed into lust and greed of Swadhisthana when the Sattvic ego devolves into Tamasic ego. Come to the Manipura or the solar plexus. Here, the intuition of Ajna has devolved into anger, entitlement, and narcissism. Here, the ego believes self to be superior and exclusive compared to the non-self individuals who are around us. This is a state of delusion. Ambition has become narcissism. Purpose has been paralyzed. So here the individual is easily offended, easily irritated, short-tempered, and always castigating the system and the society. Anger and entitlement kind of go hand in hand. Sometimes individuals who have been very successful because they are so much touted by the fans and the paparazzi that they lose the consciousness and the awareness. The ego is super inflated, and these individuals are extremely difficult to deal with. Anger, entitlement, and narcissism are the poor effects that we see at Manipura when purpose is lost, and instead of ambition, people are asking for more attention, more validation, and there is a risk of them getting offended easily. It's like a bubble or a balloon that has been filled with air more than it can handle, and any single prick will burst at any moment. So, all these features of dispassion, lust, greed, as well as entitlement, narcissism, and anger should be overcome by realizing that they exist. Realization of the problem is the first step towards solving the problem. In dhyana, one has to assess whether in the last 24 hours I was lusty, angry, greedy, or being empathetic. Once we have realized that, we try to go back into that emotion and do reverse engineering to understand why we acted that way. And then, accepting that we have some faults and things to work on, we will try to move forward, trying to change them next time that interaction happens. Then, in Brahma Muhurat, go back and do your dhyana. Go back and do your Kumbhak Pranayama or Kumbhak Kriya. Go back and listen to Brahma Muhurat Hanuman Chalisa for 1 hour. This way, we are slowly destroying the tamasic, deteriorated ego, and by the power of surrender in Bhakti Yoga, by the power of sankalp or intention and shraddha or faith, we are slowly reverting to our true nature, which is components of Shiv Chitta. Once one enters into sattvic ego realms of compassion, courage, and intuition, they have triggered the nishkam karma, or the karma that does not generate any fruitive activities. Not only nishkam karma does not generate any fruitive activities that loads up karma bandhan in the karan sharir or the causal body, the nishkam karma is also able to destroy the sanchit karmas which will be loaded on the bow of life and be hurled at us as prarabdha. Although prarabdha, or the instantaneous operating karma which has already been shot at our direction, cannot be changed and should not be attempted to be changed, the sanchit, or the repository of arrows in the quiver, those can be easily burned and broken by nishkam karma. Hence, nishkam karma, which can happen through generous development of positive emotions of compassion, courage, intuition, works the same way as Kumbhak Kriya works in terms of destroying your karma bandhans. So, Nishkam karma is our solution to disrupting and destroying the karma bandhan, which is responsible for incarnation after incarnations, punarjanams. So, our whole goal should be to understand that ego will always exist in our lives unless we are extremely finesse in counteracting it, which is the case of Ramana Maharishi. We have to use our ego to elevate the self or the Atman. Elevation of the Atman can happen by transformation of the ego, because ego has the three cardinal characteristics of identify, discriminate, and transform. Transformation will always occur in any realm of elements of Prakriti. Ego, being part of the upper Prakriti, along with mind and buddhi, will go transformation with surrounding experiences of gunas and self-introspection. Ego should be transformed from I to they, to compassion at anhata, courage at vishuddha, and intuition of ajna. All of the three will slowly lead to generation of nishkam karma in the realms of thought, speech, and action. Thereby, not only they will not lead to further loading up of the karma, they will destroy the sanchit or the collected karmas in the Akashic record book, thereby preventing further births, leading to bringing us closer to liberation or moksha. When evolution of ego cannot happen, ego being a dynamic force, it will devolve. The devolution of ego will occur from compassion at anhata to dispassionate muladhara, how sociopaths and psychopaths operate, from courage at vishuddha to anti-courage, lust and greed at swadhisthana, and from intuition of agya chakra to anger, entitlement, narcissism at manipura. All these emotions, anger, entitlement, narcissism, lust, greed, dispassion lead to loading up of sakam karma or fruitive activities, most of them in the realm of sin or papa, leading to more durgati or suffering, miseries in future life and even present life as the sanchit karma will slowly unfold. When people ask, why me? Why should I suffer more than other individuals? Why should I have certain genetic traits or poverty or financial hardships, relationship adversities? Everything has been recorded in the blue book of Akashic ethereal record book called Karmas. And those karmas are slowly operating, converting the sanchit into prarabdha and being shot at us. Since we are only seeing part of the picture, a snapshot of the movie, we don't have any exposure to the prelude. We don't have any exposure to the past lives or past activities that we had to engage in because of certain situations, circumstances, surroundings. Hence, we will make an uninformed judgment based on the partial current exposures that we have to face and hence feel sad, miserable, and suffering because we don't know what preceded this life. Hence, we have to be accepting of the prarabdha or the things unfolding in our life, but work with sankalp and shraddha to produce nishkam karma in the realm of compassion, courage, and intuition. And slowly, we will be able to burn off all the sanchit so that bad, evil prarabdha, tormenting prarabdha is not going to hurt us all the time. Work on evolving your ego using Panch Pratyahara of the Mahabhuts and the Tri Yoga of Bhakti, Nishkam Karma and Dhyan Yoga to elevate yourself and become like Ramana Maharishi one day. Jai Shri Ram.